Hello, dear friends of the channel. Today I am delighted to share with you a delightful little project I have embarked upon. It involves crafting a charming short sleeve sweater, utilizing leftover yarn. Previously, when I undertook creating a spring poncho, I overestimated the yarn requirements and ended up with 3 surplus balls. Faced with such an unexpected surplus, I pondered deeply on its potential use until inspiration struck me. Why not attempt a captivating short-sleeved sweater? Already progress is underway, marked by a flourish of creativity captured merely weeks ago in a brief video documented from my car before a busy workday. In this little snippet, I unveil my preparatory activities before immersing in the daily grind. Starting each day infused with positivity comes from engaging in knitting with passion, as you all ardently know. I revel in this pastime without reliance on predefined patterns. Despite not pursuing knitting as a career, it enriches my day-to-day through experimentation and continuous learning, which I am eager to share. For those utterly new to knitting or standing at the threshold of this craft, the journey to fabricate a splendid sweater awaits you. Without a pattern at hand, the essence lies in simply gauging our body's measure, executing a tension sample, which I'll showcase shortly, and calculating the requisite stitch count pivotal to assemble an alluring garment, basically speaking. If you have seen the video, and if not, I will also leave it in the description. This is the balls that I used. This is the wool I used. It's acrylic wool from her Melissa line, from her fine line. And this is the one I'm using to make this short sleeve sweater. I had 3 balls left over with almost 3 balls. So what I have done is make a tension sample for. Calculate exactly how many stitches would fit into my contour to know how many stitches to assemble, which is the most important thing, because the most complicated thing when we have a pattern is to know the proportions and that we don't have a huge sweater left, or that it fits us very tight and in the end we can make it good. I have chosen the jersey knit to make this sample because basically it is what predominates in the garment. Although, as you can see here, I have made 10 stitches of jersey knit, and to make a small drawing, some small lines that are seen along the garment, and that there is a lot of result left, I have made stitch, moss, silly stitch that is called, which is simply easy in all the rounds to work the 1 point A for the right. Regardless of how it appears, we will always work this point to the right. We will knit 10 stitches of jersey, that is. Work the points as they are presented in each of the rounds, and in all the rounds we will make every 10 points. And yes, we will always make a point, always work to the right, with which these finite lines will be formed, which is quite beautiful. Well, returning to the tension sample, I have done it with the 3.5 needles because that is what I am going to work with the garment. And the normal thing is that it is with the same needles. To explain a little bit how they have to do the calculations, I have noticed them more or less here so you can see it. Well, in principle, what we have to do is measure our chest contour. With a tape measure, we measure, and well, let's put the 90 case, an example, for example, 90 centimeters that we measure from our chest contour in total. Okay, then we make a sample of attention. We would already have it done. We measure 10 centimeters, and I, for example, have marked with another color thread so that it is easier for me to count the stitches, and I count how many stitches go into 10 centimeters. Okay, so once I have that, we have 10 centimeters equals 20 points. This is an example, okay? It's not exactly what I have here. But hey, for you to have it as a reference, 10 centimeter, which would be our tension sample, is equivalent to 20 points. since our total chest contour, which is 90 centimeters, would be equivalent to X. Come on, basically it is a simple rule of 3. In the end, we would get 180 points, but these 180 points would be the entire complete contour. Do you know what the entire outline of the garment is? But we want to make a front part and a back part, which would be half of these points, and half would be 90 points. So here we would already have the stitches that we have to mount on our 3.5 needles to start working. Okay, it's super important because even when measuring our contour, we can play a little. If we want an oversized garment to be a little looser, then we measure the contour and put a little more on it. Okay, we would give it 100 if we want it looser. If we want it tighter because we want a tighter garment or whatever, well, we would play a little by taking it off a little. That's up to how you want the garment or what you want to do. In my case, they are 95 centimeters, but hey. The example I have is this so that you can see it easier. Then we would mount 90 points, which is what I have done. So here I assembled the stitches that I calculated that I had to assemble, which came out, and what I have done is in elastic stitch, a patent or belt with elastic stitch 1, a stitch on the right and another stitch on the reverse, always doing, at least I work like this, making edge stitches. That the short point is calculated is set independently of those we have to write. For example, if in the case of the previous example, which would be 90 points, I always add 2 more points because I don't take those 2 points into account for the drawing or at all, simply so that when cooking a spike is formed, as you can see here, this spike is also formed. And you get the most beautiful finishes, you get the most homogeneous edge, and in the end the garment is better finished. Then we would mount 90 points plus 2 points. Then I was telling you it is edge point. The edge stitch, we simply pass the first stitch without knitting, and the last stitch we always knit backwards. Okay, that's the difference between normal stitch and good edge stitch. What I have done, what I intend to do, because as I told you, I am also a beginner and I am learning little by little and I am without a pattern. So I'm going to see if I can do it in one piece, make the entire garment in one piece, with which what I have done is when I have reached this height that I now tell you, in case you want to have it as a reference, well, at about 40 centimeters high, I have closed points here right in the middle, calculated the center, and in the middle I have closed X point. Okay, in this case it would be good. I'm going to tell you the neck measurement. I calculated more or less how much opening I wanted from the neck. That is up to the person doing it. Do you measure more or less how far does the neck want? How open does it want it? Well, in this case, they are like 23 centimeters, practically 22 centimeters. Of opening, that is, we would close the equivalent points in this example. The one I am doing 20 centimeters. So what the points that fall into 22 centimeters, what I have done, I have left the waiting points in this hole and I have continued working only these points, maintaining the same drawing, maintaining the edge points exactly the same as we came from below. When I finish the height I want on this side, I leave these points on hold and start working this side in the same way that the left is worked. I would work the same distance in the same round. And once I get here, in the end, I would have to join them, of course, to continue working as done with the first, with the front or back, in case you want to remove the back. You choose that however you want. If you want the neck to be exactly in front, the same as the back, or you want the back neck, the back part to be a little higher, in my case, I am going to do it exactly the same. So the part that I choose front rear is indifferent. Well, the idea is to work this side the same as this one, and then join it in some way, create some points here in the air in some way, which we will see in the second part of. of making this garment and then continue working down all the stitches just like it says here. And once everything is in place, simply join the sides and finish the sleeves. I'll see how I do it. Okay, in principle, then I'm simply going to tell you the width that I haven't told you about the garment, just as I have made it, in case it serves as a reference. Let's examine this, measuring approximately 49 plus or minus 48 centimeters. It's roughly 48 wide. I previously mentioned it's about 38 high. Another detail is how I incorporate threads, such as this example, that I have left over from other projects. And this is also its fine line, because I have put about 2 turns in a color that contrasts, but that is in line with this color that I am using for the garment. Let it be good, let it be harmonious, more or less. And the idea is to put this same little color on the neck and sleeves. But hey, we will see it. I will show it to you in different videos, so that you can see the progress. And I simply wanted to show it and tell you that we can all get started little by little and make clothes with threads that you have left, even recycled threads, because I have 3 balls. But if I had 2, well, I would do it in 2 tones. I would look for the way, maybe half in one tone, half in another. The thing is to recycle and put to use those balls that are left over from previous projects. And that being able to get things, because it is very rewarding to do things with your hands. And the most amazing thing is when you can even take it to work. So does it fit you moderately well or decently, at least so that you can put it on, go out with it and put it on, and it's really very rewarding? Well, no more. A kiss to everyone, a very big hug, and bye.